How you doing? How is everyone doing, especially my friends and family up there in New York? It doesn't look good, huh? This thing's really happening because we've been jaded over the course of the years, very jaded as far as the weather forecasts go. Is it really a snowstorm? And then what they like doing, they realize that the previous snowstorm got them a lot of heat, a lot of ratings. People were paying attention to news agencies and weather services. So they like trying to get you to think another snowstorm's coming. This weekend, is it possible? They ask questions like that. They don't tell you that there's actually a snowstorm. Could we be looking at up to 3 feet of snow? And no, the answer is no. But this one seems legit. This one seems like it's going down. And 2 feet? Is that what they're talking? Will they? There's still something that could happen, though. The weatherman later on could be like, well, we dodged that bullet. We certainly dodged that bullet. Boy, we were looking down the barrel of a shotgun here, and at the last minute it turned off to sea. Meanwhile, they knew. They knew days before that that's exactly where it was going to go. You can't tell me that in 2026, weather forecasting is still so vague and arbitrary and, they don't know exactly what's going to happen, especially within a day or two of it happening. But they know, the people that tell you the weather and the companies that those people work for know that it's in their best interest to make the people think that it's going to be this big cataclysm. And I don't get that either. That's part of human psychiatry or psychology, I think. Psychology. We look forward to things that aren't good. Not everything that's not good. I mean, I don't think people are looking forward to terminal diseases and things like that, unless you're really twisted. But snowstorms, hurricanes, people love yapping about it, texting or calling their friends. Did you hear? It looks bad. Could be a Category 5 when it makes landfall. It's supposed to come right toward me. Oh, we're battening down the hatches. We got all our supplies. It's like this excitement that people crave. And I don't think it's just a few nutty people. I think human beings, for some reason, enjoy that. Enjoy some kind of danger in their usually mundane lives. And a snowstorm, it's not like the 1800s, like the Donner Party or something. You'll be okay. Maybe schools will be closed. Like Zohar Mamdani said, the schools will be closed on Monday, tomorrow. And people keep an eye on the weather. And what's the snowfall? What's it going to be? How many inches? And if it goes up, they're like, oh, boy, this is going to be a big one. And they love it. They love it. Now, after it happens is when the real bitching and complaining starts, and especially in your new mayor, Zohar Mamdani's New York City, where we saw his first test of keeping things up and running during a weather emergency, the previous snowstorm, that he failed miserably. He failed miserably, even though I did see some Instagram and TikTok videos of people giving him a 10 out of 10 for his snow performance. 10 out of 10. I don't think people know what that means. I don't think they understand 10 is the best, and there's not another number that could possibly be better. So, it's a strange situation. I'm the same way, though. I like when there's some cataclysmic weather event or something. You're like, oh, it gives you this weird survival thing where you hearken back to a more primal time and you know that you have to change it up. It's different than every day. It's a different thing than your normal get up, go to work, come home day. There's some element of danger in this day, and you're like, ugh. And you're like a caveman. And, that part of you gets to shine or fail miserably. If you're a guy and you got your family and they're freezing cold and starving and the part of the roof is caved in, you didn't do it. You didn't do your job very well. And I hope that isn't you. I got a tree on my house. You don't want to be that guy. So, obviously, we get a lot of callers from New York. 800-848-9222. You want to give us a call and let us know what you're going through throughout the show tonight. If you have any snowfall updates, I could be a real radio jock with this whole thing. Hey, let's check in with Brooklyn, New York. What's it looking like out there? Paint a picture for our listeners. So who knows? But Zoran, he got a bunch of, or he wants a bunch of people to help him shovel out. You got all those sanitation department vehicles, snow plows, the garbage trucks. They put the plow on the front, and shovelers, all the sanitation department workers with their shovels. $30 million of snow removal budget. That's for the entire winter, So he's had one snowstorm this winter. So I'm sure he hasn't run out of funding, right? I don't think so. So why do they need citizens to shovel? Why don't they have these? And it just seems to me like a perfect opportunity for someone to sign up for this, hurt themselves, and sue the city and have the taxpayers pay the rest of their lives, pay for everything in the rest of their lives. Doesn't it seem that way? And I don't care what you have to sign in order to do this. After, of course, you show your ID that you don't have to show to vote, but you show that ID, you fill out your forms, and then you go out and go, oh, there goes my back. I need to go to the hospital. Then they take you to the hospital, and then you go, yeah, I don't know. I hurt myself. They didn't tell me that this job was going to be this strenuous. And before you know it, lo and behold, you got a couple of $1 million, courtesy the people of the city of New York, paying your way. And then, I don't know. It doesn't. This doesn't seem like World War II United States, World War II New York City. Uncle Sam needs your help. Get your nylon stockings and aluminum pots and pans. Bring them down for the war effort. Like, people are motivated, proud. They wanted to help. Now, I just picture a bunch of people leaning on the shovel, leaning on their shovel, smoking their cools, and going, yep, there's $25, $30. Another hour, yep, there's another $30. What's the motivation? Honestly, what's the motivation? I want to do a good job I'm proud of? The motivation is going to be the money. And unless there's someone cracking a whip, a supervisor or something that's around all of these shovelers all the time, I think a lot of people are going to slack off, as they say. You're a slacker, McFly, and not do the best job. What was the saying in Office Space, the movie? They'll do just enough to not get fired. No motivation. And you do the minimum, just enough work to not get fired. And I could see that happening. It seems like a big waste of money. Now, if you're a sanitation department worker and you have a pension plan and you have supervisors and opportunity for promotion, things like that, there's your motivation. If a supervisor or something sees you leaning on a shovel, you're not going to be the guy in line for the promotion or the raise or what have you. So there's some motivation. So hire sanitation guys, New York. Use some of that 30 mil and hire some people that want to work, that want to do well, want to have a future for themselves. My God. I don't know. It just, to me, seems like a real Mamdani thing to do. And then I heard that this is something that has been used under other mayors during snowstorms in New York. I'd never heard of it. This is the first I'm hearing of these civilian hired snow shovel brigades. So I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out my ass. All right, your calls. The calls are starting to come in. We got plenty to talk about. Mexico is a mess. So plenty more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. The Anthony Cumia Show, and I was just scrolling through my X account, Anthony Cumia on X, if you want to comment and kind of circumvent the busy phone lines. You could just go to X and comment on my post that I put up there saying that this show will be on this evening. There it is. And a good friend of mine, Rex Kramer, 2112, he said, Ant, the ID for snow shoveling job is so they could tax what you earn. The city has to get its VIG, you know. Yeah, so you work for a certain dollar amount per hour, and then the very people that paid you have to get their cut. It's all such a scam, man. It's a scam, man. So there's that. The kickback. They have to kick money back to them. Isn't that great? Joaquin there in Pennsylvania. How you doing, my friend?
All right, Anthony. How about you?
Good, man.
How's your dog? I'm
always great.
Intrigued when I watch videos of those Malinois.
Yeah. He's a Belgian Malinois, and he's just he's constantly on 11. It's it's quite an adventure, man. It's not like a golden retriever that's going to sit there and lay his head on your lap while you watch television. This guy's constantly on mental patient. Yeah.
what you have is you have a German Shepherd on crack.
Yeah, pretty much so.
Hey, you know, when you reference the Donner Party, at least you don't have to eat your neighbors like they did. Okay. And when you talked about the World War II population, I think the problem is that as a society, you know, except for the people that have gone to war for us, we're so far removed from the realities of any of this stuff that people are just too comfortable, and they just don't think that anything is going to happen.
You know, yeah, and it's an amazing difference from then and now. Look, war is insane, like World War II especially, but the home front back in the 40s during the war, I can't imagine Americans, 2026 version of Americans, sacrificing as much and doing as much just for the cause of winning the war and backing the Americans that are over there. The creature comforts went away. You couldn't just get in your car and drive somewhere on vacation. There was rationing. They would ask for things like aluminum, and you know, the parents would give their kid a big aluminum pot and tell them to go down to City Hall and drop it off. That whole spirit of America seems to just be gone, and it's replaced with this entitled selfishness and me attitude that doesn't, like you said, doesn't even resemble what we were at that time.
Now, I have a conspiracy theory for you, a new one that I came up with.
Yeah.
And, okay, look at what's happening now in New York. Because Mamdani talks about taxing the wealthy, right? And the wealthy are driving up, you know, property taxes and things like that.
Yeah.
This goes back to when the Democrat finally won mayor in Miami. And I was reading about what was going on down there. And this is my conspiracy theory. I think that these people are deliberately driving these wealthier, upper-class people out of these blue areas, out of these cities and jurisdictions, into the red areas, okay? But the problem is that they are bringing their ideologies with them. But
Right.
here's the dangerous thing that's actually happening that I noticed. One of the reasons why the mayor won in Miami-Dade is, and, when they talk about, the cost of living and things like that, as these people are going down to these areas like Miami-Dade, it drove up the property values. And a lot of the middle-class people started moving out who tend to vote red. So they're creating actually a situation where you have, wealthier people, and, of course, they have their leftist ideologies. Then they're driving out, the red people, the conservative mindset or patriotic mindset. And then, of course, in the New York area, the blue cities are replacing them with all these illegal migrants.
Right, and they're just going to vote Democrat anyway. I believe, why wouldn't I at least consider what you're saying there? Because it seems like that's their prime directive, just to change demographics, make cities that vote blue and vote Democrat by any means necessary. And we've seen it. We've seen all of the nefarious deeds they will do in order to reach that end. Joaquin, thank you, man. It's right in front of our face. So many of the things that are being done to us, to this country right now, are being dangled right in front of our faces. No more hiding it. No more camouflaging these things as something else so that the population won't notice. And they've brainwashed a pretty giant swath of population to believe they're garbage and to actually agree with things that are so obviously ruining the country. But, they'd like to say half the country. I still have a little hope that it isn't half the nation and that the majority of people in this country are sane, rational people, and they do see things that these politicians are doing to screw up the country. But there's a lot of dummies, a lot of very easily influenced people out there, and I don't know what we do about those people. And they seem to be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil, if I may use an ancient term, because they're the ones you see on the news. They're the ones protesting, and they're the ones the politicians get behind. And your rational, normal American people who want to lead their lives and raise a family and enjoy themselves, work and make money working, they're the ones that seem to not really have a voice. And when they speak up about these crazy policies or crazy ideology of the left, there's plenty of labels that they throw out on them as some kind of defense against rational people speaking out. You don't want to be called racist. You don't want to be called homophobic, transphobic, Islamophobic. A lot of people, some of us do not care. And that number does seem to be growing. But there are people in this country that do care. They don't want to be called that. And they feel that their voice has been taken away. Their ability to voice their opinions has been taken away because of the consequence of having those labels put on you. I'll play a clip in a little while. Times Square, Islam for Ramadan, just thousands of them praying in the middle of Times Square. And people don't like that. They don't like it because they don't seem to be people that want to assimilate to our society, that respect our culture and our religion and the way we live our lives. But they can't say anything. Or you're bigoted. You are a terrible bigot. And so they don't say anything. And that's why we end up kind of being silent while this madness goes on around us. And, there's some of us will speak up. There's plenty of good people that have been run through the mill, fired, canceled, but they're still out there and still fighting the good fight. That's good to see. But the left, man, they don't care. They'll go out there and spout the most insane nonsense and be proud of it. You see these protesters? You see the politicians? Adam Schiff and Liz Warren, when they start talking how proud they are of these protesters voicing their opinions, exercising their Second Amendment, First Amendment, thank God, not the second, their First Amendment right. And they're crazy. They're quite literally insane. And then rational people speak, and they're labeled racist, sexist, homophobic, whatnot. And no one's scared. The phobic thing is kind of funny, unless it's trans. I think you have a reason these days to be a little transphobic based on current events. All right, people, don't you go anywhere. The phone lines are full, and we will be right back after this. And, yeah, we've been talking about the snow up there in New York and taking your calls. See if we got one here, Kevin. Kevin, Long Beach, what's up?
Hey, Aunt.
Hey.
Boy, 3 weeks I've been on.
Doing well, thank you.
Very good, very good.
What's the scoop over there in Long Beach?
Joaquin wasn't too far off the mark, this whole Islamic thing going on in Texas. March 3rd, they have Sharia law on the ballot in Texas.
Who'd have thunk,
in
man?
Texas. I mean, you can't get redder than Texas.
I know. It's like I said, though, the only defense against it is speaking out, doing something, but they will label you so quickly, and a lot of people are petrified that their credibility, their job, family, friends, so they just say nothing, and this continues and gets worse and worse and worse until you have a place like, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Dearborn, Michigan, all these places where it's not even recognizable as the United States.
Well, I would like to know where these 9 million plus MAGA guys are people that voted Trump in. Where are they? Where's the pushback? You know what I mean? He won Minnesota he didn't win it, he lost it, but he still got 1.5 million votes. Where were they there? I keep waiting for this.
They're petrified, Kevin. They're petrified. Not only that, they slapped down a lot of conservatives, MAGA people with that January 6th nonsense. They made people afraid to voice their opinions, especially if their opinions are against Islam, because, now you're a white supremacist. Now you're a radical. Now you're dangerous. They have plenty of strategies to keep people in check that would like to deal with the problems of having these Islamic enclaves all over the country. But like I said, petrified. They've scared the crap out of them.
Yeah, well, they got commuted, and they've been loud as hell now. They got websites, they're having rallies, everything.
Yeah. Well, it still scares people to think that they might be prosecuted for their ideology and their displeasure with what's going on. And that was just sheer luck because Trump got in. That those guys, they'd have been rotting in prison to this day and long into the future if Trump hadn't gotten elected.
Right, but he is in, and they should be less afraid because they got a voice in the White House that support them.
Some people have doubts about that too, but
daylight is burning, my friend.
I know. I hear you, Kevin. Thank you, man. Yeah, it's nuts. That's just one way to put it. It's nuts. I was talking about Mamdani and, of course, the taxes. This is amazing. This guy got into office, mayor of New York City, under the platform of free buses. We heard it. The grocery stores, state-run grocery stores that'll discount the food, free child care, all the free stuff, free school, free this, free that. He's in for almost 2 months, not even 2 months yet, and he doesn't know what to do about his budget deficit. So he's trying to threaten the state. He's trying to threaten Governor Hochul. Like, hey, if you don't agree to raise taxes on the wealthy, which are people that can barely get by in New York City, then I will be forced to raise property taxes on the residents, working class people in New York City. Now, Hochul knows that's not good for her either. She don't want to raise taxes on the wealthy because she doesn't want any more well-off people leaving her state, which they are doing. But if you go into an election with your property taxes having gone up, they don't care. The people don't care if it's Mamdani doing it. And then Mamdani will blame Hochul and Albany because, hey, I tried to get them to raise taxes on the wealthy. They said no, they're in bed with the wealthy. Now we don't have a choice, so I had to raise property taxes. So he'll put it on Hochul. And she knows, and she'll probably wind up raising taxes on the wealthy. But that will not be done until after the midterms. It's a slimy, sleazy business they're in, and they are slimy, sleazy people. She did that many times with many bills and other things. Remember the congestion pricing, driving tax, the commuter tax? She waited on that until the election. And then, boom, that was in place. And then she told you, because it went from $15 to $9, that she saved you $6. She saved you money by not making it $15 and making it $9. This is the kind of slimy people you're dealing with. So your taxes will go up. And I don't think that raising taxes on the wealthy is going to fix that budget, because it's full of these nonsensical commie programs. So I see your property taxes going up anyway. The working class New York citizens will be paying more in property tax. It's just the way I say it. Here's a Zoran talking about raising taxes. The thought that he may have to raise taxes, let's say. AC1.
I know that for those who have watched budget after budget, it is tempting to assume that we are engaging in the same dance as our predecessors. Let me assure you, nothing about this is typical. That's why our solutions won't be either. There are two paths to bridge this gap. The first is the most sustainable and the fairest path.
Fair.
This is the path of ending the drain on our city and raising taxes on the richest New Yorkers and the most profitable corporations.
Bye.
The onus for resolving this crisis should not be placed on the backs of working and middle-class New Yorkers. If we do not fix this structural imbalance and do not heed the calls of New Yorkers to raise taxes on the wealthy, this crisis will not disappear. It will simply return, year after year, forcing harder and harsher choices each time. And if we do not go down the first path, the city will be forced down a second, more harmful path.
More harmful.
Faced with no other choice, the city would have to exercise the only revenue lever fully within our own control. We would have to raise property taxes.
You have to.
We would also be forced to raid our reserves. To balance the budget as required by law, our preliminary budget takes the only path within our control, the second path. The options of the second path are the options of last resort, options that we will only employ if there is no other means of arriving at a balanced budget.
No other means. And by that, he means if Hochul doesn't play ball and raise taxes, because he doesn't have a say in that. He can't just arbitrarily raise taxes on the wealthy. That has to come from Albany. But he can individually raise taxes on citizens, property taxes. You know, there is another road that he didn't even speak of, and that's cutting your budget. Cutting your budget. New York City's budget, the city, is higher than the state of Florida. And they do fine. They get through. And they don't even have a state tax. So what's happening? I see a lot of mismanagement. I see a lot of these ridiculous programs. There's all these gay programs. And I'm not using that word like, oh, that's gay, dude. Literally gay programs. LGBTQ stuff. There's gender programs and racial programs. And why don't you cut some of those to the tune of millions of dollars? I know he's got like a $5 billion shortfall or something like that. But, start with the millions till you get to the billions. He's not willing to cut anything. Oh, not anything. Wait, he'll cut the NYPD. He'll do that. As a matter of fact, I think we have, what is that one? Do we have the NYPD clip? Boo, boo, boo. Let's just go to AC3. This is part of the budget for Mayor Mamdani.
Equity, $4.6 million, Commission on Racial Equity, $835,000, Commission on Gender Equity, $260,000 for Department of Education, Chief Diversity Officer, $301,000 for 3 FDNY civilian Chief Diversity Inclusion Officers. There's a title for you. And $118,000 for an FDNY Chief Diversity Inclusion Officers. Is that necessary stuff? You can't cut that back?
Yeah. Exactly. All of these ridiculous liberal programs. How come other cities don't have those? The blue ones do, obviously. But you get a Republican-run city, you don't have all that nonsense in there. Chief Diversity Officer? Can you rationalize doling out money to that while you're begging and threatening to raise taxes on working people to keep those things going? But you voted for him. I keep forgetting that. I thought he just appointed himself mayor with all of his ridiculous ideas and the cost of everything and the taxes and this and that. I would assume he just stepped in because no one could possibly have voted for all that. But you did. But you did, didn't you? Ah, you sorry bastards. I don't know what the hell. I'm going up there next week. I will be up in New York next week. And, every time I go up, I take a look around and I just see a city in turmoil. I really do. I'm glad I wasn't up there for the dog feces on the sidewalk. That was a big news story for a couple of days. The snow melted, and all the animal waste was left all over the sidewalks. And now it's just going to happen again. It's just going to happen again. Mamdani has proved himself incompetent when it comes to some of the easiest things. New York City mayors get in there. There's a snowstorm. They know how to handle it. They know how to delegate responsibility to people that are competent. I have no idea who's on his administration that has to be the person that takes the bull by the horns and gets the work done as far as getting rid of snow removal. But I'm sure they have a resume full of all kinds of gender studies and things like that. Not as much in civil engineering and sanitation. So who knows? Who the hell knows? There it is. Sandra, Jersey, what's up?
Wow, I'm shocked you took my call. No, what's up? You were mentioning earlier that not enough people are speaking up for the right things. And I thought of someone who I think is very courageous, and that's John Fetterman. He actually said that there's a rot in the Democratic party, and he was referring to the anti-Israel wing of the party. And he actually called out AOC, who said that the U.S. should consider withholding aid to Israel. She was saying that that Israel caused the genocide, and he really let her have it. And I think it's courageous for him to speak up like that when he could just kind of be quiet, and he chooses not to be. It's like, don't judge a book by its cover. Remember when he first ran for Congress, nobody wanted to vote for him because of the way he dressed, and, he had a stroke. He's turning out to be the very, very, very best, in my opinion. Right? Am I right?
Well, the fact that he did have a moderate amount of brain damage, which he's come back from quite well. If you watch him speak now, it's so much better than it was right after he had his stroke. So, he seems like one of the more sensible Democrats, which is hilarious to think you have to have some element of brain damage as a Democrat to be more reasonable. The guy that had brain damage is more reasonable than any of the other Democrats out there politically. I kind of like his stance on some things. I'm not a 100%er with Israel.
You know what else he says? No, he also said that he questions why does she pick only on Israel? Why not look at Iran, what's going on over there with all those people being killed? She doesn't call them out. She only calls out Israel. That's not fair.
Yeah, I think I'm from the school of thought of until we get our crap straightened out here in this country, I think every charity that we're throwing money to globally should be stopped. And I mean everything. NATO. I don't think we should ever pay NATO another dime. We protected Europe from the Soviet Union for decades. And in return, they slap us in the face at every turn. Now, Russia's not a threat. Or Soviet Union isn't a threat. They're not around anymore. And what do we get? We get little snide asides and criticisms and crap from Germany and France. And Italy's pretty cool. They're pretty cool with us. But we don't need to be taking guff from the likes of the countries that we protected under the NATO umbrella for decades, and now that there isn't a real threat looming, they could give us crap. Well, pull out. We still give an overwhelming majority of the money that goes into NATO, and Trump has, thank God, mentioned it and said, you guys got to pay yours. But everything, that Israel, Japan, any of these countries that we shovel money to, just pull it back. Pull it all back. Right. Say, nope, not until we can look around and go, wow, we fixed everything here. Now, who could use a little help around the world?
That sounds good, Anthony. It sounds really good.
Thank you,
how's your tooth feeling?
Oh, don't worry about that. It's fine. It's fine and dandy. We healed up nicely.
Right.
Thank you, Sandra. There goes Sandra. But, I don't know how that ever became a thing, that the United States became, the charity. Well, it's the way we are. It's our spirit. We like to give and help. We're amazing as a country. And when the money is falling out of the Capitol building, when the money is falling out of everyone's house, and you're like, I don't know what to do with all this money. Then maybe. Right now, no more. Why are we these nice guys? And again, they just smack us at every turn. Every other country. Oh, America and their guns and their violence and their nasty manners and this and that. Shut up. Pay your own way. How about we step off the world stage for a few years and see how everyone else handles things for a while? Yeah, See how that works. Enjoy. All right, people. We'll be back in seconds. Don't go anywhere. You know, we have to get to, of course, one of my favorite segments, Clown of the Week.
The Anthony Cumia Show presents the Clown of the Week.
And this one, not very difficult this week. A lot of clowns, but not very difficult when you have the likes of Bernie Sanders. You know, the whole beef that the Democrats have about voter ID is insane because they are painting their constituency as dopes, idiots. And I have to say, a lot of them are dopes and idiots. But when you say there are groups of people, Democrats, that are incapable of getting an identification, a federal or state ID, anything that could be used to identify yourself when you go to vote. The excuse that, well, no, they're too stupid. They are way too stupid. And then they try to not to make it sound like a racial thing, so they go, well, the rural people too. People in rural towns in America. They're like, I don't know how to get me an identification. And the truth is they do. It's easy. It's not very difficult to get an ID. You must have one to do essential things in this country. It's not just vote for voting. Most everything you do when you leave your house requires some form of ID. When you're buying something with a credit card, you don't have to show your ID, but your name is on that card. It's it can double as a form of identification for you. And they just think that people are way too stupid. And they always bring up you have to get a birth certificate or a passport, something that does take a little while. You don't get a passport overnight. And birth certificate, a lot of people, especially if you're in the older age brackets, you might not know where that is. People move, it gets lost, they have fires, whatever it is. And if you ask Bernie Sanders, this makes it impossible to get an ID. Let's listen to Bernie talking about his own birth certificate, shall we?
You're not talking about voter ID. That's the way Trump defines it. But you're talking about, now I don't know about California's initiative, but I do know what's going on in Washington, is that some geniuses think that before you can, maybe I have it wrong here, register to vote, you need a passport or your birth certificate. Do you have a passport or your birth certificate?
At the moment?
Do you?
I do. I have,
but millions of people don't. I don't have my birth certificate. God knows how I get it. No, you're not talking about voter ID.
God knows how I get it. I don't have my birth certificate. I don't even know how to get it. What? In 2026, it's easy peasy to do anything, especially get your birth certificate. I checked. I went online, and I looked at, Bernie was born in New York City. So I looked at what it takes, and within a second, you have an application that you fill out online. What's your relationship with the person listed? Is it you that wants to get this birth certificate? And then you put your info on there, delivery information, shipping into the continental United States. What's your address, the person on record, all that. Male, female, or X. Ooh. What New York borough? What was the name of the hospital you were born in? That's even optional. That isn't even a thing that they demand. Date of birth, parents of the person of record, your mother's full maiden name, which is optional, her married name, and then the maiden name, the father's name, and then certificate information. What are you applying for this birth certificate for? And then you check the box that says, I'm not pulling any shenanigans, and they send you a birth certificate. That's how easy it is. But I don't know. I don't have one. I don't even know how to get one. What is it? Some kind of, where do you have to go? What do you have to do? They know. They know damn well it's not hard to do. And then the saying before, the clip we heard before, Bernie, that, African Americans have a problem finding their birth certificate or passport. Most of them don't even have a passport. What? They're so insulting in their relentless attempt to ruin our electoral process. They are so insulting to people, calling them idiots. You can't function. Ridiculous. All right, don't go anywhere. Back in a flash. I can't really get through a show without talking about the lovely, wonderful ladies of The View. Calm down, guys. I know. Oh, boy, just conjures up an image in your head, doesn't it? The gals, when they get together and sit at that desk and just cluck like the hens they are. So for quite some time now, the lovely ladies of The View have been discussing the Epstein files, the lists, the emails, and the names, all the things that go along with these files. And the Trump portion of those, which, if you look into it, because a lot of them like to say Trump's name appears thousands of times in the Epstein files. Thousands of times you will see Donald Trump's name. And then you look into what it is, because these people, sometimes they're debated. And when they say Trump's name is thousands of times, and then someone will ask them, well, what does it say? What are the charges? What can he be charged with? What crimes has he committed? And they can't say anything, because his name appearing 1,000 times or 10,000 times doesn't matter, because they're all allegations that were made on these hotlines that popped up. The FBI, other law enforcement agencies put up these hotlines that you could call to give any information as to what might have happened with Jeffrey Epstein, his plane, his island, whatever. What info you got? We're here to listen or record. Leave your accusation at the beep. And these people did. And this was after Trump was already president. So there were people that obviously dislike Donald Trump, want to see the worst happen to Donald Trump. We'll talk later. There was already another assassination attempt at Mar-a-Lago or what have you. And so the Trump name, all of these allegations, which the vast majority of were dubbed zero credibility. It was lunatics or people trying to stir things up. They had no credibility, no proof. Some of them, they try to get back in touch with people, and the phone number went nowhere. They didn't leave a number. So those are the instances why his name showed up so many times in the file. And there were other instances, emails talking about Donald Trump, but not one instance of something, of a verifiable accusation that can be followed through with. It doesn't exist. Yet they go on TV and do these podcasts and radio shows and talk about how this disgusting pedophile Donald Trump committed this crime, that. They won't even say he's accused of or there's been accusations of. They say he did this with a 9-year-old. He did this. There were allegations of murder that took place. Again, completely unsubstantiated, uncorroborated. There's no evidence and the allegations are insanely out there. But they ran with it because it's Donald Trump, and they hate Donald Trump, and they have to lie and do what they do. So then the girls of The View get on one day, and lo and behold, whose name pops up in the Epstein files? Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi's name pops up. And what do the girls do? They listen to Whoopi. She gives her little excuse. I was just looking for a plane that day. I needed a plane to get my ass to a benefit. You see? And that was a good excuse. Like she just, okay. There were plenty of excuses. Donald said, yeah, we went to a lot of parties with the same people. This Jeffrey Epstein guy was an insanely popular person. He was in those inner circles with celebrities, politicians. He was one of them. Handled the finances of some of these people. So just having a picture with him or having an email or spending time at a party wasn't a big thing. But when it was Trump, it was a big thing. And it must have meant he was doing horrific crimes against mankind and nature with Jeffrey. And then Whoopi's name turns up on it, and not every accusation or not everyone's name on the list is a bad thing. I mean, Marilyn Monroe, you'll hear they say that. Marilyn Monroe was on the list. Elvis was on the list, which isn't that big a defense because Elvis was about a piece of garbage. And then, if it wasn't bad enough, if it wasn't tragic enough for the girls of The View, Joy Behar also turns up in the Epstein files. And she had an excuse, too. She was able to say, no, it was this, or it was a party, and I was there. And so their excuses are viable and fine. But when Trump said, I had nothing to do with this guy. He was in some similar circles. Some parties were attended. I never went to his island. And that wasn't good enough. That wasn't good enough. But Whoopi and Joy, they could just make up whatever excuses they want, and their sheep will be like, well, of course, yeah. Well, they weren't talking like that the day before their names popped up on the list. So let's listen to Whoopi and Joy and the gals, shall we? AC5.
I think if they find enough evidence and really good evidence, because that list has a lot of crazy names on it, and it's almost like a way to muddy the waters so that you say, Whoopi's on the list, right? And so am I think. Why?
But
because wait, let me finish this, please. We're on the list because we were at a party or a wedding or something that somebody might have been. That's what I found out anyway.
Yeah, no,
I was at Trump's wedding to Marla.
Right.
Maybe Epstein was there too. Who knows?
Maybe.
So that means that I'm not guilty, obviously, but these other ones,
or
how
maybe
are you
we're
going
dining
to
on
decide
baby cutlets.
who's really guilty and who's
Well,
not?
I think
very
it's
tricky.
I think it's very clear because if you look, you know why my name is there. Because someone was looking for a plane, and that's what people do. They go to all the people who have private planes and say, do you have one?
Yeah, we all know that, how
I
that
didn't
goes,
get on
right?
a plane. I didn't know they were looking for a plane. Yeah. I had no idea that the plane that I was supposed to be on was no longer available. So I'm named in there like Whoopi Goldberg needs a plane.
But there are a lot of people that are
Marilyn Monroe is on the list.
Yes.
There are plenty of people that were there are plenty of
Elvis
people
also.
named.
Yeah. Can you, I love listening to them kind of panicking, trying to explain themselves. And these were, if anyone on that list had excuses like they did, they would have been like, oh, really? Huh? Oh, just looking for a plane? Oh, you were just at a party? And then the next day, we were just looking for a plane. I was just at a party. These are great excuses. They're just using us to muddy the water for the real guilty people. Yeah, who? Who? It was everybody before your names showed up on that list, wasn't it? And Whoopi. Oh, just the salt of the earth, just the every person, isn't she? Don't we all know the trouble when we're looking for a private plane to fly us to a charity event and your people put out the word to people with private planes? Oh, such a chore. And then you end up on a list that you were looking for a private plane to be supplied to you by a monster, by a literal monster. And now you just got to get on your own show and be like, no, I was looking for a plane. Okay. And it was Marla Maples' wedding with the Trump. I was there, so maybe Epstein was there. Oh, yeah. Or maybe you were down on the pedophile island doing horrific things. I don't know. There's just as much proof for Donald Trump having committed atrocities like that than there is for Joy Behar. That's how I see it. Where's the proof? Where's the smoking gun document that isn't just some hotline recording of somebody trying to screw Trump over, or a mental patient stalker, or whatever? Yeah. Maybe they should have looked deep into the Epstein files to see if your own name isn't on it before you start mouthing off at that table about whose name pops up and what crimes they may be guilty of. Oh, those hens. They're such hypocrites. And listening to them trying to get themselves out of a jam and rationalize it to their sheep audience. No, we believe you, Whoopi. Woo! They start applauding. Ugh, disgusting. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll take some calls, and we got to get to the Mexico thing, too. Boy, is that unfolding quickly down there in Mexico. Back in a minute. We do appreciate it. There was a big Ramadan prayer thing going on in Times Square. This is Muslims praying in the street, chanting, and, it's one of those things that if you just blatantly come out and say, no, this is wrong, this shouldn't be happening. Obviously, if you're a little older, you remember 9/11, and you could not possibly imagine, as far as you could look down Times Square, praying Muslims on their prayer rugs, and the sound of Islamic prayer echoing through the canyon of buildings that is Times Square. So it was alarming. And you can't tell people that they have no reason to feel like that you're a bigot, that's terrible. You just can't do it. There's precedent, there's hindsight, there's memories that make people uneasy about it. And that is if it was just merely prayer going on. But it wasn't. It wasn't. One of the head muckety-mucks there got up and started talking about Muslims in New York and how people have this fear that they are taking over. And he pretty much validates their fear by saying they are taking over. Listen to this guy, AC7.
Giving down. Yo, make some noise from the brother water right now, baby. MashaAllah, yeah. Takbir! Oh, don't scare them, brothers. Relax. They're over here on purpose to be like, oh my God. Who's seen those videos where they're like, oh my God, the Muslims are taking over New York City? You seen those? You seen those? Let them know that we are taking over New York City. Takbir! Oh my God.
Let them know that we are taking over New York. And then, this sounds like something out of a horror movie. I got to be honest. To you. This sounds like something out of a horror movie. Yelling Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. And what do we got? They're afraid. They say that we're taking over New York. Well, we are taking over New York. And then, oh no, it's frightening. It sounds frightening, doesn't it? And don't be bamboozled into thinking this is just peaceful prayer. People want to pray. They have a big thing in Times Square. This has a motive to it, and it is intimidation, fear-mongering, trying to get people to say things that they would deem Islamophobic, and then using that against people. This is one of their tools in the toolbox of taking over. And if you don't see it, I don't know what to tell you. You're a little naive. And Bobby here in Westchester. Bobby in Westchester, what's up, man? Hello.
Oh,
Bobby?
Hi, Anthony.
Hey, what's up?
Well, listen, it's the 1965 Immigration Act kicked in. You use this as material for your show. You don't care about it. You're just joking and laughing. The invasion has been 50 years. No one did anything. And now you're sitting here. You could talk about the view and everything. Hey, listen, Rosie, you look cute in a burqa. There's a lot of people in your audience listening. Your grandchildren are going to be wearing burqas. It's over. You got to be kidding. You got to be.
Why wouldn't you think I care about it, Bobby? I care about it. I do a show and I touch on a lot of topics, and I have to make things interesting, compelling, and then make them natural coming out of me and my personality when I talk about it. But why would you think that adds up to I don't care?
Well, you're a Johnny-come-lately. The 65 immigration, they all came in here the last 50, 60 years.
Johnny-come-lately. You don't think I've been talking about this for almost my entire life? This problem with Islam coming into this country, not assimilating, directly opposing what we stand for and what we do. How do you know? How do you know what I've been talking about for my entire life?
Well, you've been with ABC for almost a year now. You never talk about the 65 Immigration Act. That's it. You
I have talked about that. Of course I have. I've talked about that. Lyndon Johnson, I could roll it up and stick it where the sun don't shine. Fiasco me.
But that was 65 years ago. Why ain't they doing it to repeal
I was
it now?
4.
They got to repeal it.
I was 4 years old, Bobby. You had to give me a couple of years to get up to speed at least.
I'm not talking about your age in 1965. I'm talking about the 65 years that have passed by. You never called for getting
I
rid
needed
of it.
a couple of years to catch up. I wasn't very political in elementary school, and we didn't have a lot of Islamic children on Long Island at my schools. So it took a little while for me to get interested in what's going on. High school, it was all about girls, Bobby. Girls and cars. I didn't really care about the 1965 Civil Rights or Immigration Act. And then in my 20s and into my 30s, I started looking around and going, oh boy. And I said to myself, I wish I would have learned sooner and done something when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old so that Bobby in Westchester wouldn't be angry with me.
Well, I'm not talking about your high school days. I'm talking about now. And plus, you ever see the visas they give out, the tourist visas? And you ever go? You've been to the airports. I see people coming in the airports. They're up with tourist visas. Who goes on vacation with all their worldly possessions? You know why they do that? Because they ain't leaving. That's why. And this thing with Nancy Guthrie where they show the border. People, I've always said the border's not closed. You can drive in and out of that border anytime you want. You can bring anybody into this country. They're just lying.
You think the Mexicans? You think the Mexicans took her?
What?
You think the Mexicans took Nancy Guthrie?
I think it's a good possibility, but they cross the border. They live on both sides of the border, if you understand it. And the thing is, let's face it, they were in that house for 40 minutes. They thought there was big cash in that house, and they ripped it apart. People don't realize they'll beat the hell out of an old lady. That's what they probably did. They hit her, they smacked around for the cash, and then they took her out of the building. Listen, the Martin technology, they're not telling us everything. They have more video, they have satellite photos. The cars can be traced with all the computers. You're worried about being traced. Your car is being traced with the computer systems. They can trace it right back to where it was manufactured. And listen, they come in and out of the border. It's all a lie, man. Danny, 85% of the people who voted for him were foreigners, Muslims, communists all voted for him. They tried to say the college kids were doing it, right? Remember they said the college kids were voting for him. That was all BS, a lie. They want this country invaded. Saudi Arabia pours billions of dollars into America. So does Qatar. So does China to change this country. Nobody ever brings it up. Nobody.
You know, Bobby.
That's why they ban.
But I agree with you. It's amazing how confrontational you can be with me when I completely agree with everything you're saying.
I understand you say that, but you got to do a show. You got to be.
Well, I do a show.
Who
but I'm not doing the Muslims are taking over America show. I talk about it a lot. I talk about it here. I talk about it on my internet show. But, you know, I have to hit on other things. And I was just talking about it when I took your call. I had just mentioned the whole thing with Times Square. So you are really, really a confrontational guy, Bobby. But I like you. I like you, Bobby. I got to move on, though. Holy Jesus, that guy's hilarious. What's wrong with you? Why don't you do that? But no, I agree. I was talking about, I don't like the idea that they're praying in huge numbers in Times Square because it's not just prayer. It's intimidation. They're trying to scare people. They're trying to make people say things that get them in trouble. And Bobby's like, 65. Oh, I wish I could have been 4 years old and voted. Gee, Mr. LBJ, I'm going to vote against this. I don't like it at all. Hilarious. I like that guy. He's full of vim and vigor. Back in a flash. Do not move. The Anthony Cumia Show. God, that guy was funny, man. Scott. Or Bobby. Yeah, it was Bobby. Bobby from Westchester. Holy jeez. He's just yelling at me. I agreed with him. Imagine him calling a show that he disagrees or you disagree with him. He's wild. I love it, though, because, you know, I grew up listening to this very, station in New York and Bob Grant, Bob Grant. What's on your mind this afternoon? And it was fantastic. And he would get callers like Bobby, and it was just so fun to listen to and entertaining and stuff. And I'm just, to this day, I'm beside myself, as they say. And I still pinch myself every so often to imagine that I am doing radio, talk radio, and taking New York callers. And it's a lot of fun. I love it. Thank you, people. Thank you, people. Mexico, what in the hell is going on south of the border? They are in a war. There is a cartel war going on down there, a legitimate cartel war. And it seems Mexico, maybe with or without the help of the United States, that's still up in the air. I would assume with the help these days, but everything's so damn conspiratorial. But I don't know. It just seems like we would be involved in trouncing the cartel. Like it's something Trump would really want to do, like the Venezuela thing. And so they kill this guy. What was his name? El Macho, El Muncho, El Mencho, El Mencho. It sounds like a movie name. No, they've killed El Mencho. And he was the head of this huge cartel down there. I don't even know how many cartels there are. I don't think they know. But what we are seeing in the aftermath of them killing this guy is that they have a hell of a lot of heavily armed, motivated cartel members. You know, in the movies, when you see the cartel members and they're just rushing a place and they just don't stop. They're just one after another and big crowds of them shooting, minion. And the good guys are trying to mow them down. And that guy, I guess that's real. I guess there's that many of them. And what we're seeing is them wreaking havoc on places in Mexico, a lot of places too. I guess it kicked off in beautiful Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Yes, you'll be whisked off to beautiful Puerto Vallarta, like the dating game. That used to be a prize on the dating game. You know, the girl would pick the guy and they'd come back around and tell you what the prize is. You're going to a cartel resort where your head may be lopped off and put on a fence post. So, yeah, they're doing it. And then I heard Baja California's kicked off. Someone from Tijuana has said that. Yeah, a lot of places are popping off. And they really do seem to have a lot of cartel members, and the cartel seems to be deeply entrenched in their local communities and then spread out amongst the entirety of Mexico. And they are burning cars. They're setting gas stations on fire. I saw that. Shooting at will, just shooting Mexican National Guardsmen and Mexican police officers. This is big. It's going down. And one of the things I have a question about is, did they know? Did they know if they take this guy out that this was going to pop off? Or did they have no clue at the strength of this cartel and their willingness to F stuff up after they killed this guy? It doesn't look like they had planned this out with the knowledge that the cartel will go absolutely nuts and start shooting up the entire country. That seems to me, at least, to have been a miscalculation on their part. And then, how do you run a country with a cartel, at least one that we know of here, but I'm certain there are many other that are dug in? How do you run a country for years and years and years and not either know that you have a cartel running things, or you don't do anything about it? And I know they're corrupt as hell. Mexico is a disastrous bastion of corruption. No one is honest down there. If you've ever driven down in Mexico and gotten pulled over by a cop, you know what the deal is. It's a shakedown. This is not, I'll take my ticket and I'll go to the Mexican court and you are paying that policeman right there on the spot. I thought we could take care of it right here in Brainerd. Yeah, I meant to get my tags. It's the tags, yeah. And they want you to pay them right then and there. Every aspect of Mexico is corrupt. So, there's that, which kind of explains why the cartels are all over, dug in like ticks, and they're not accountable because the police departments are paid off by the cartels or threatened. I heard some tape, some recordings before the show of the cartels shaking down the cops. They'd go to the cops and tell them, hey, you better relax. You better lighten up on giving us any problems. And the cops agree. They're petrified. You want to talk about movie violence. You want to talk about atrocities that you don't even believe really happen. There's the Middle East, you know, that whole Al-Qaeda kind of a thing that was going on. And there's Mexican drug cartels. And the lengths they will go to scare the crap out of anyone to keep them from interfering with the cartel's interest. It's astounding. I can't even watch the videos that that come across my feed every so often. Just before, it was blurred, so I didn't have to see much of it. But they had a guy, and he was hanging by his wrists from a tree branch, and a guy just hits him with a flamethrower. Gets him with a flamethrower. And he's alive. You know, this is the kind of horrors that go on down there. And it doesn't really seem like the authorities down in Mexico really care. It's been going on forever. They don't really seem to give a crap that this is happening. Now they've kicked over a hornet's nest, and we'll see where it goes. But I don't think the woman in charge there, what's her name, Scheinbaum? Really weird name for a Mexican president. It's like the most Jewish name. I don't think she can do anything without the United States' help. And then do we really want to get involved with a full-blown cartel war? I don't mind some of these Sicario missions that go in there and take out a few key people and stuff. But, you know, what, Black Hawk helicopters and A-10s and troops, boots on the ground. Are we ready to do that against cartel members? That seems to be Mexico's job. And unfortunately, we are connected at the southern border to Mexico, which brings up another thing. How the hell is such a corrupt cluster F of a country bordering what is arguably one of the greatest nations on the face of the earth? You know, it's great that Trump got in there and slammed the border shut, but, you know, this is happening within eyesight of our southern border. You know, Canada, we make fun of Canada a lot, and there are a lot of things to make fun of Canada about, but it's not like there's these insane cartels up there. There's insane liberals. There's transgender people that are mowing people down. But, you know, you don't really have to worry about your head ending up on a pike at a Canadian resort or something like that. So just a weird situation that Mexico is right there to our south. It's been this way forever. Nothing ever gets done. And this is proof that it's a lot bigger than even they thought. Now, the United States, I would have to think that our intelligence would have known that if you take this guy out, a lot of these crazy bastards are going to come out of the woodwork and start problems in Mexico. What was their plan to deal with that? Because it doesn't seem like they have a plan. And it really, from the videos I'm seeing raw coming out of Mexico, it certainly seems like the cartel is winning this battle so far. They are driving around just mayhem, lighting everything on fire, mowing down any type of law enforcement and civilians. They're begging people to stay in their homes. Any dummy that decided to go on vacation to Mexico is told to barricade themselves into their hotel rooms, shelter in place. Who the hell would go to Mexico in 2026? knowing that like their whole government is corrupt and based on drug cartels. And you're just like, oh, that's beautiful. There are plenty of other places you can go. Plenty of other places you could vacation. It's not the 70s or the late 60s, early 70s, where you go on the Newlywed Game and get whisked off to some Mexican resort. But, you know, people still do it. And now they're hunkered down in some crappy Mexican hotel while a cartel war rages on around them. So good luck. Good luck. Mexico. El Mencho. They have killed El Mencho. No. And then they grabbed El Mencho's son. I saw they had him on a helicopter, and they're questioning him. And he's in his underwear. Like they take your friggin' clothes away, so you can't just run away. You're like, oh, you look for the friggin' guy in his underwear. But that's not going to bode well with the cartel. They're going to probably take their own hostages. You're now giving them something like, oh, well, now release El Mencho's kid, or we will, you know, blow up this group of people that we found in a bank. It's a bad situation down there. I don't think this was well thought out. And that's coming from your friendly shock jock, former shock jock. Thank you. What is it, 44? Yeah, we got time. In Minnesota, there is a trans-identifying congressperson, Lee Fink, saying queer kids need adult sites for their education. They've been saying this for years now. They've been saying that books that depict graphically, whether through illustration or whatever, graphics, gay sex, you know, two guys doing things that blatantly, you know, pleasing each other with their gay sex, as they say. So people have had a problem with this. They go to school board meetings and what have you, and they say, yeah, we don't want this. We don't want these books in the schools that my kid is going to. And that's a viable argument. Why have pornography on the bookshelves at the school's libraries? And their argument is this is for educational purposes. Why? Because they're gay? There was never an argument that heterosexual sex, books or films or whatever, had to be included in elementary schools, junior highs, or high schools to educate kids. There were sex education classes, and there were biology textbooks and things like that, but not hardcore sex books because you're heterosexual and need to learn heterosexual sex. So why do the gay students need hardcore graphic sex books? Why are they different than the heterosexual kids, and their needs to learn about sex have to involve literally porn? But let's listen to her, AC4.
You mentioned the Paxton case, and the AGs in many states are very clear about that. They're almost jubilant about being able to use these laws to ban young people from accessing content that could be educational, if they are queer. And you're a principal. You have LGBT students in your school, and we also know that they're not receiving sex education for queer kids. We know that prurient interest could be, for many people, the very existence of transgender kids. More and more people are saying there simply are no transgender kids.
There's no need. There's no need to teach sex education for gays. When you are taught sex education for heterosexual students, it's biology. You're learning about how children are made, how eggs are fertilized, all that. You're learning about hygiene and health care of your nether regions and all that. And there are some things that gay people can garner from that education, things like hygiene and just where the parts are, where all your dumb parts are, if you don't know that by the time they're teaching you in junior high or high school. But the biological part of it, here is how a woman's reproductive system works. Here's how a man's works. And this is when you bring them together, how a child is produced. So there's no reason to teach the sexuality of gays, where the sex part of it is purely for pleasure. There's nothing there that is going to teach about the biology of human beings, the reproduction of human beings through the biology of men and women, anatomy, the science behind it. Why would you teach, hey, that feels good when you do this? Learn that with your gay friends. No one's stopping you. But there's no need to have gay pornography on the shelves of bookshelves at school libraries. It just isn't necessary. Keep them at home. Keep them at home. Whatever you want to do. All right. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. More to come. I haven't listened to this. I scroll through X, Anthony Cumia on X, if you want to follow me. And I saw this at the top of the list. This can't be real. Or whoever wrote this. But there's a couple of posts saying it. Gavin Newsom is talking to a group of black people. And he says something a little crazy. Let me see if I can pop this up here. Hold on.
I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. and I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech.
Oh, my God.
Maybe the wrong business to be in.
Wow. So he's in front of a group of African-American people, and he says, I'm just like you. I'm an idiot. I mean, that's kind of what he's getting at. Hey, I'm like you. I can't read either. You will never find a more racist person than a liberal. Unbelievably racist. The soft bigotry of low expectations, I believe they said. But to say I'm like you, my SAT scores are terrible, and then to go on and say I don't read speeches because I can't read? Come on. If Trump had said anything like that in front of a group of black people, wow, that would have been madness to watch. But all right. All right. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think I noticed a little African-American dialect in when he's talking. My SAT, he tried to be a little Obama, sound a little Obama there. Oh, my God. Is that going to be your guy, Democrats? Is that your 2028 guy? Because, hoofa, talk about baggage. He has some baggage. And he doesn't have the Trump attitude or charisma to circumvent the baggage, to get around it. That's going to be your guy. I've said for quite a while now, the Democrats really need to pull somebody that we don't even know right now. The way Bill Clinton came out of the woodwork in 92, you really kind of need somebody that isn't a name that everyone knows, comes off like a moderate. And believe me, it would be so easy for a Democrat to come off as a moderate, especially one that doesn't really have this past record where everyone knows they're a left-wing mental patient, liberal. You just come up with a viable candidate. He doesn't have this ridiculous history of debauchery. And then you have him go over some policies that are middle of the road. And people, even people on the right, conservatives, will look and go, wow. Hey, did you hear this guy talk? He's not bringing up the LGBTQ. He's not talking about opening the borders up and this and defund police. That's all they'd have to do. And they'd be in a great position. But they'll dump somebody like Gavin Newsom in there, or, AOC, or one of their herd, one of their collection. The stars is what Kamala Harris said. Oh, we got stars in the Democrat Party. We got our own stars. Oh, yeah. Jasmine Crockett. People love Jazzy. Those are your stars? Good luck with that star-studded show. AOC, Jazzy, Jasmine Crockett. Oh, my God. Do they get it? Do they get it? I tell you, like I said, I should be the Democrat strategist for the presidential election. Find anyone that isn't tainted with the freak show. The freak show that's been going on for years now on the left. If you can even find someone that is unscathed of that, and then give him a very middle-of-the-road agenda. Never have him mention any of these hot-button, ridiculous, way left-wing issues. And you might as well pack a U-Haul up and bring his goods to the White House. But they won't do that. They're so attached, so anchored to their ridiculous policies. And I think a lot of them can sense, at least, that it's detrimental to their party. It's not good. There are a lot of Democrats that can't stand the mental patient left, the nose rings and the green hair and the yelling and the signs and the violence. Ma'am, it's ma'am. Really? That's the guy? You want a guy to defend that and then try to run for president? And yes, a guy. That's another thing. Stop with the prop candidates. Oh, a white dude. Just please. You got to. It's in your own interest that they just do that and try to win over some of the undecideds. All right, we'll be right back. Thanks for sticking around with us on this Sunday evening. My buddy Chris just sent me a video from Long Island. And, yeah, that is some snow. That is a coming down. And what is it, only at 10 o'clock. And it's supposed to go till tomorrow, overnight at least. So, woof, you guys could actually get a big one here. Looks like it. Also, a little update on the Mexico situation. The cartel has issued direct ultimatum to Mexico. Meet our demands. Our men will enter your homes and hotels tonight, unless. Residents of Guadalajara, I am from Guadalajara, received a chilling warning. Be off the street by 2 p.m. I guess that was earlier, or face violence. The 5 p.m. deadline's passed. No one knows if they'll follow through. And then areas, Cancun, blockades and shootouts erupting in Mexico. Mexico's most visited tourist destination. Families trapped at resorts. Tijuana, border city flaring hard. Carjacks, blockades, active blocks from the U.S. border. Puerto Vallarta, Costco was burnt. Every exit road blocked. Tourists physically cannot leave. Air Canada pulled out entirely, of course. Airport. Passengers still stranded. Flights suspended indefinitely. Video of tarmac chaos still flooding social media. Schools are closed Monday. There you go. Like New York. Yeah, snow day. It's a cartel war day in Mexico. Public events canceled. National Guard engaged in active shootouts across multiple states simultaneously. And prisons, oh boy. Assaults reported, guards killed, escapes reported. U.S. Embassy still active, shelter in place across Puerto Vallarta, Chapala, Guadalajara, Reynosa, Guerrero. If you're in Mexico, just don't go anywhere, is what I'm trying to say. Canada has issued identical warnings, both countries pulling flights. Families locked in homes, tourists trapped in hotels waiting to see if the cartel follows through on their threats. Kids home from school tomorrow, an entire country holding its breath tonight. And cartels threatening to kick down doors. Their demands, apparently, they want the body back. They want El Mencho's body back. El Mencho. Is that really his name? Yeah, here it is. They want El Mencho's body back, and they want them to surrender those responsible for killing him. Those are a couple of their demands. I don't know about that. I don't think so. I saw a picture of El Mencho after the fact, and they blew up El Mencho. There wasn't El Mucho of El Mencho left, and it was quite horrifying. So I don't know if they'll be returning him. And then handing over the people responsible, like what? Government officials, military, the guy that pressed the button for the missile or whatever. I don't know. This could go on for a while. And like I said, I don't think they saw this through. I don't think they saw that this was going to be what happened. It just seems like a little too much chaos for something that would have been planned out. You'd have had the proper people located where they needed to be, secured certain areas, set up areas of operation, and then do what you got to do. But it seems like they killed this guy and then went, oops, I think we got them mad. So I don't know. We shall see, as they say. AOC, don't we love her? No. She looked like an imbecile, the imbecile that she is. He was talking about foreign policy. What would you do? Would the United States come to the aid of Taiwan if China decided to invade them militarily? What I think is, well, sometimes if you think what I'm trying to say, she just nothing. Airhead. Her head is full of like, could I get a beer and a shot of Jack? That's where AOC should be. That's all she should have to deal with in her head. There you go. Could I have, give me a shot of schnapps and a Mick Ultra? You got a Mick Ultra? Not overseas talking about foreign policy. What a joke. And then she got all whiny that people were making fun of her. Well, you sounded like a buffoon. You sounded like an ill-informed idiot that went a little too far out on the branch than you should have. Stick to your little district in Queens that you screw over anyway. Oh, God. Anyway, AOC claims that Republicans are radicalizing young men. And how are they doing that? With I can't even say it, masculinity. Yes, masculinity is the big problem. That's a way to radicalize young men. How about returning young men to actually being young men? There's a novel idea. After you've the pussification of young men that's been happening for quite some time now, where they're not allowed to be men, where the very thought that they would be attracted to women is disgusting and impolite and rude and terrible. So here's AOC. And let me see which clip this is. Is it on here? Oh, there it is. AC6. Let's listen to AOC.
And they are able to radicalize and target and exploit a generation of young boys, in particular, away from healthy masculinity and into an insecure masculinity that requires the domination of others who are poorer, browner, darker, or a different gender than them. And that is why they are resonating online, because they are appealing to the most basest and worst parts of human nature to divide.
Really? See, they're all for healthy masculinity, which is femininity. Their idea of healthy masculinity is femininity. To see young men in this country gravitating once again toward being masculine, taking charge, wanting to be with a woman, not sitting there wondering if they're gay or trans or bi or gender neutral, whatever. Her idea, their idea of healthy masculinity is what we've seen. And some of the very things she described as unhealthy masculinity is just masculinity. It's boys being boys, growing into men, talking crap with their friends, insulting their buddies, talking about girls in a way that AOC would be disgusted with. These are boys growing into men. That's why it was so refreshing to see that American Olympic gold-winning hockey team. When they won and just threw up their helmets and gloves and they're skating around, and then to see them singing the national anthem and celebrating in a locker room, it was like, yeah, these are young guys, competitive, driven, not full of all this liberal nonsense that we've had to deal with, turning young boys into girls, guilting them for telling a girl she's pretty and maybe he wants to go out with her, or being definitive about something, being sure of yourself. This is the horrible, toxic masculinity that they talk about. And we've seen the effects. We've seen weak men come out of this crop that they've grown. Weak men. And it does my heart good when I watch social media videos of younger boys and men these days talking about their love of country, the idea that they want to be in control, that they like the idea of gender roles for men and women that are starkly different, marriage. They hate that. They hate that. It throws a monkey wrench into their works, and their works is to completely screw up this country. And they've done a hell of a job, but you can only push nature so far. You can only push nature out of the way for so long, because it will always win. It's nature. And men want to be men, and women want to be women. And regardless of what these liberal dummies tell them, nature always comes back around and sets things straight. So good to see. Don't listen to this dummy AOC. Okay, people, back in a minute. Don't go anywhere. Gavin Newsom with in front of a black audience in Georgia says, "I'm like you. I'm a 960 SAT guy, and I can't read. Hopefully that doesn't offend you." Yikes! Someone writes. The comments are hilarious. Did Newsom really say this? They have to ask AI. Just like Biden, he's unaware of just how racist he is. Yes. Let's see. What a pandering racist. Holy Toledo. This guy is so insulting. This guy's on cloud nine. Unfortunately, yeah, this guy's right. 90+% will still vote for him. Do you think this makes you more relatable? You can't read? So the comments are flying in from that video statement. He's gonna have a hard time living that one down. Hilarious. Hilariously funny. Yeah, some of our politicians on the left are dimwits. The State of the Union is coming up. I think it's Tuesday, right? And the Democrats are starting to say they won't be showing up. They will not be showing up. You won't see me there, Buster, buddy boy. And Chuck Schumer, he has made it known that he will not be attending AC8. Let's listen to Chucky boy.
The president speaking at the State of the Union on Tuesday. A number of Democrats have already said they're not going to attend. What is your position on this?
As of now, because I respect the whole institution, but I don't respect Donald Trump one bit, I will go. But the bottom line is there are a lot of my colleagues who aren't going to go.
What do you think about that?
I think that's fine with me. Everyone should make his own choice. As the Democratic leader, I am going to go as of now, but who knows what will happen in the next few days.
Oh, so he's thinking about not going. But he doesn't care if other Democrats don't want to go. And there are some that don't. This is Shifty Adam Schiff, as Trump calls him. He will not be attending the State of the Union. Let's hear his clip, AC9.
Donald Trump is violating the law and Constitution. He is ignoring court orders. He has weaponized the Justice Department to go after his enemies. He is letting loose ICE troops in our streets that are getting people killed. I will not be attending the State of the Union. I've never missed one. I have always gone both to inaugurations and to States of the Union, but we cannot treat this as normal. This is not business as usual. I will not give him the audience he craves for the lies that he tells. I'll be outside the Capitol with Midas touch and move on for the people's State of the Union, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday.
The People's State of the Union. Okay, I'm sure it'll get tens of views. I'm certain of it. Good. No one wants to look at Adam Schiff's dumb face, his bobblehead, in the scowling in the chamber. Scowling, sitting down, not clapping. Oh, God, that whole thing. Yeah. Again, this is a prime example of how they cannot take that someone is in office that they don't agree with and can't do everything they want to do as the liberal, America-hating people that they are. They're powerless really to do any of that, and they cannot deal with it. So they take their ball or their toy and they go home. I'm not playing with you. Meanwhile, when Biden was in there for 4 years, the Republicans showed up to his, I don't even know what you could call it, State of the Union. State of his mental health is more like it, because we got to see him deteriorate over the course of the years. But who cares if Chuck Schumer doesn't go, or Schiff doesn't go, or Maxine Waters doesn't go, Liz Warren, Jazzy Jasmine Crockett, who cares if none of them show up? What, so we could look at their dopey face when Trump brings up something they don't agree with or like, when he talks about how many illegal aliens have been thrown out of the country by ICE, how many murders, rapes, and robberies may have been thwarted because they've kicked out violent criminals that the Democrats would have let run ramshackle over this country. We'd have to see them with their arms folded. Oh. What about Renee Good? Ugh. So good, stay home. Who needs you? That's what I say. Who the hell needs you? Yes. Martin, upstate New York. What's up, man?
Yo, Anthony.
Hey.
It's a good show, as always.
Thank you.
So I have... You're welcome. I have something pertinent to what you were saying earlier about ID.
Yeah.
Okay, so I worked for a municipality for a long time. I have a Class B because I needed it for my job to drive the garbage truck.
Uh-huh.
I don't have Class A tractor trailer. I didn't need that, so I didn't get it. But when I had to renew my Class B after 10 years, it's the law, I had to go to the DMV. And renew it. And I've been working for this same municipality for like 25 years at that point. And I thought this should be, I just walk in there. I use my license for ID all the time.
Yeah, everyone does, yeah.
Yeah, right? So I thought I just go in there, renew my license. The guy said I need my birth certificate to renew my license. I was like, what? I went home. I tried to find it. I couldn't find it. I had to go back down to where I was born. The town where I was born is Terrytown, right? So I was born there in Terrytown.
Yeah.
So I went down there, the registrar's office. She pulled out a book, a big book off the shelf, found me in there, and issued me a new birth certificate so I could go back to the DMV and renew my license, which I've been using for ID for years and years.
Right
so,
then and there, she gave you a new one, huh?
Yeah, well, I was born there, and she found me in the book.
Yeah.
But the point is that I don't understand how these illegals just come out of nowhere and get a license to drive
they're getting commercial driver's license and other licenses and IDs. Yeah, I don't know how it's done either. It seems a little shifty to me. When you have to give them the proper documentation legally to do what you want to do, but they're wrapping semi trucks around families' vehicles. And how did they get their license?
I have been in my job for 25 years. I was established as somebody with my license and everything, and I.
Yes, Martin, we get it. You're an amazing person. We thank you for your service and your license. I'm kidding with you, Martin. Thank you. Thanks for the call. Martin sounds like a guy that when he's driving around probably needs someone in the vehicle to chit-chat with. A little chit-chat. Nothing wrong with that. Friendly guy, likes to talk. I don't know how they get this stuff. Anytime I've had to get ID, I'm not saying it's hard. I'm not saying it's impossible for people to get an ID so that if you require ID to vote, it's interfering with people's right to vote. It's not. But there are certain things that are necessary. Because just like an ID keeps people from committing fraud in an election, going through the proper hoops and documentation to get a license keeps that from being fraudulent. Because you don't want people getting an ID that under false pretense. You don't want that. So I don't know how they're doing it. I know in some states like California, they just don't give a crap. They'll hand commercial driver's license out to illegals, people that have no idea how to drive a car, never mind a tractor trailer, can't speak English. The road signs might as well be hieroglyphics. They don't know what the hell any of it means. And they're driving around. You talk about Adam Schiff. ICE is going around killing people. How many people are dying because they're handing out commercial driver's license to illegals? How about that? Bring that up. Not the people that were interfering with law enforcement and got themselves clipped. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these words. Everyone loves when I talk about our good friend Steven Singer. Hey, it's Anthony Cumia here. I've been telling you about Steven, the I Hate Steven Singer guy, for decades. If you haven't heard yet, Steven Singer Jewelers was named one of America's leading jewelers. There are almost 18,000 jewelers in America, and less than 50 jewelers have received this wonderful honor. Just another reason why other jewelers hate him. They hate Steven Singer. Steven's a jeweler you can trust. He has the best guarantees, the best warranties, and all at the perfect price 365 days a year. Steven always has the best value on real diamond jewelry. No phony sales, no fake discounts or pricing games, no nonsense ever. Just easy and fun. That's why he's considered one of the most trusted jewelers in America. No one does diamonds better. Experience the difference at Steven Singer Jewelers. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Gavin Newsom faux pas is, we had so many instances. I think a lot of people forget how many gaffes, they would call them, with Joe Biden. I mean, that was 4 years of just every time they put him out there. I mean, a lot of times they called a lid, remember that? And you wouldn't see him for a day, 2 days a week. And then he'd come out and say something so insanely ridiculous that it ran the news cycle. And it was funny, sad, pathetic, scary. And we don't get as many of those anymore. But this is a great one, Gavin Newsom. And they're all just saying, this one's funny. The soft racism of lowered expectations pops in his head again. See my ends, I'm stupid like you. That's pretty much what he said in a sense, and it's just every other post on X tonight. So funny. There was shenanigans at Mar-a-Lago. Shenanigans. How many times are people going to threaten Trump's life during his presidency? This is insane. This is like, I don't remember any other president having this many attempts made on his life. And again, I have to put some responsibility firmly on the media, the Democrats, politicians, Hollywood, news, that just keep talking about him like this existential threat to society and America, democracy. He's tearing up the Constitution. He's a dictator. He's literally Hitler. Yeah, you say that enough times, and you're going to get enough mental patients on the left that are going to want to kill him. And here's the latest one. 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin. Always three names. Any good assassin worth his gold has to have the three names. He's from Cameron, North Carolina. And authorities say his family reported him missing Saturday. That's a red flag right there. This is the man who attempted to breach Mar-a-Lago with a gun and a gas canister. And Donald Trump was not even in the state of Florida when he did this. So Donald Trump in no danger. But, when you got nuts like this walking around, he had a shotgun and some gas canisters. He was summarily dispatched by the Secret Service taking the room temperature challenge and winning. So we don't have to worry about him no more. But who is he? We never really find out. That one guy at the Trump golf course, I found out the day he was sentenced that they had already done the trial. He was found guilty, and they sentenced him. Or no news about the trial itself. There weren't reports every day from someone in there. Hey, we watched the trial today, and this is what his defense attorney said, and here's what the prosecution said. Nothing. This is a guy that wanted to assassinate the president. The guy that shot Trump in the ear in Butler. Who was he? What was he all about? Nothing. We got nothing. And then this guy, his parents report him missing. How do you report someone missing on Saturday? He's 21 years old. How long was he gone before you reported him missing? A 21-year-old. So, again, it's all just weirdness, man. It's all so easily made into something conspiratorial. Every one of these instances, none of them pan out as something that could easily be explained. And we sit here going like, what? What was it? What happened? And they don't tell us anything. They go to trial, they get spit out the other end, and we still don't know what the hell anyone was talking about. So that's the latest assassin and potential assassin. Like I said, thank God Trump was not there. We wouldn't have wanted that. No. He's had enough. Leave him alone. Matt from the Bronx. I've been hearing people talk about this, Matt, this impending war with Iran. And people are already criticizing Trump for getting us into a war with Iran, where's the war? I don't see it. I don't feel like one's bubbling below the surface. Please enlighten me about this war with Iran that I don't even know what the hell it is. I gave him such a good lead in. You hear him? You hear him snoring? I gave him the greatest high energy. Come on, Matt, let me hear you. He's snoring. That is fantastic. Have a good night, Matt. Tuck you in. Don't let the bed bugs bite. There goes Sleepy Matt from the Bronx. Very busy. I think he's one of the shovelers. He was out earlier shoveling for Zoran Mamdani. That was really funny. Kenny, Bronx, are you awake?
Yeah, I'm awake, and I just walked in. I can't believe it. I had to go out and see the snow and everything.
How is it looking in the Bronx?
Oh, it's coming down really hard. And you know, when we were kids, we used to say good packing. Well, it's perfect packing for snowballs, but I haven't seen a snowball fight since the 20th century.
No, these days it would turn into a gunfight pretty quickly. Someone would be offended or hurt and pull out the gat, show them where it's at.
Exactly. And in New York City, the kids that used to come around and get paid to shovel snow, they're now in their early 50s. That happened. That stopped years ago.
Yeah, that was a thing back in the day. Kids would go out and say, I'll shovel your driveway for a few bucks. And that's how a lot of driveways got shoveled. Kids had motivation, some gumption. And now, screw you. Screw you. Give me money for nothing.
Right. And also they could sell their joints and everything. But the thing is,
there you go.
There's people out on the road. I'm out there. I just went out for a walk. I love the snow. There's people driving. Obviously, they're probably people who are on their way home. And the only benefit of that is they do start to eat up the snow on the roads and everything. But it is coming down fast and furious, and we're going to get hit here. The problem is the third world is in New York City. They don't know how to shovel snow. They don't know how to shovel it. The last snowstorm we had, you know, Ant, when you walk down the block, there's openings, so you know, like a 90-year-old lady doesn't have to go another mile.
Right, at the intersections, yeah, with a little ramp that goes down by the crosswalk.
Then I haven't been on a bus in a long time, but I see the bus when it pulls into the bus stop. The back door, the snow is again. It's a trench there. You see old ladies high hurdling. I just saw a guy on a scooter, one of those Bangladesh scooters, doing a delivery. Listen, in the Winter Olympics, if delivering food in snow was an Olympic event, this guy would have got a 10. Dude, 10
yeah,
across the board.
speeding down the sidewalk, an icy sidewalk on a scooter.
All over the joint.
It's like the third world.
I said, I'll give you $5 for all that food. And he just looked at me. He kept going. But the thing is,
it's like the third world. Yeah,
it's the third world out there. It's over for everybody. Just enjoy yourself and have my thing is, if you can afford it, have 2 home locations that you live in, because this way, if you got to get out of, you got to get out of Dodge, you got to get out of Dodge. Don't fall for any of this stuff, move and improve and all that BS. Dude, they take over the school systems. They run amok. You got to see what they're teaching these kids today. You know what it is? In New York, living in New York City my whole life, I saw the future. I got to see the future living here. I made the call. The commies would run the school system years ago. Who puts a 7-year-old kid behind a desk for 8 hours and you just let him out for lunch for 30 minutes? Those kids want to play sports. Those kids want to do all kinds of things. Musical. They want to be talk show hosts.
Nah, you got to drill LGBTQ stuff into their heads.
Exactly, and telling them they could go have a sex change when they're 10 years old. That's freak. We were flipping baseball cards. Remember? When we were 10 years old.
I'd love to wax fantastic all night, Kenny, because I remember every one of those great instances of being a kid and the snow and the baseball cards. But I got to move on. Thank you, Kenny. Have a great. Oh, I can't even hang up because the continue.
Oh, but don't hang up. Let's keep talking. And I was outside. I'm not kidding. I went out to the store. I came back, and here I am. You were calling my name on the phone.
I know, Ken. Oh, they're
like
very close. Thank God.
Miracle.
All right, Ken, like a Christmas miracle. Thank you, Kenny in the Bronx. Have fun in the snow. Be careful. God, be safe out there. You know what a nightmare that is, getting locked out of the phone line. So 800-848-9222. God, that's funny. Yeah, the scooter thing is something that really only popped up. And I don't mean the little scooters that people ride around on in, like, Houston. That's a bunch of people, college kids, just trying to get around, drunks. I was doing a comedy gig in Houston with a bunch of buddies, Gavin McInnes and Josh Denny, a couple other comics. And we would, from the hotel to the comedy club, take these little scooters. And, you get your phone, the app, and you turn the thing on, pay for it, and then you're flying down the road on this little scooter, and it's not safe. It's really not safe, especially if you're above an age where a fall could crack your little pretzel rod bones or your graham cracker hip. Very dangerous. So, but I'm not even talking about those. I'm talking about the third world scooters, the ones you see in the old movies like the old Vietnam movies, Full Metal Jacket, when they get to Vietnam and they're riding on those little scooters, or South America, Central America, and every city's got those damn scooters. And now go to New York. It's the third world. There's scooters all over. And it's people that do deliveries and whatnot. There used to be the Asian guy on the bike, and he'd take your food somewhere. Now it's probably an illegal on one of these scooters. And then when they're not delivering food, they're doing little hits. They're stabbing people, stealing, robbing. And the scooter's like their getaway vehicle. Very popular in Brazil. You see a lot of these crimes going on with these guys riding the scooters. And now it's just part of, sorry, part and parcel of a big city. That was getting me all peeved the other day when you just see the videos of these heinous crimes in the subways and the murders and rapes, the debaucherous behavior. Saw a guy laying down on a bench, like 4 seats on a subway, and he was doing, the most disgusting thing a guy can do in public on a subway. And, nothing's getting done about it. You think Zoran Mamdani is going to instruct his police chief to make sure there's plenty of cops down in the subway to roust these people off the trains and back above ground in the winter so they're not terrorizing commuters that actually pay for and have to use this horrible public transit? No, that's not happening. So that will remain. People will stay there doing horrible things in the subway. And then they, on the same breath, they're telling you to leave your car at home and take public transportation. And then they'll show you a video of Kathy Hochul on one of the trains, not showing the giant New York State troopers behind the camera. It's all such a lie. It's all such a lie. And you're just, they keep you needing them. And they do not want you to be self-sufficient, and they do not want you to be able to take care of yourself or your fellow citizens, your loved ones, whatever. So you go into these trains, and it's a nightmare, and nothing will get done. Everything that needs to happen, they refuse to do it because it'll make them look like they're racist. Oh, why are the stats in? And all the people, or a huge percentage of the people rousted from the train, are people of color. Well, because that's the way it goes. There are white guys. I've seen disgusting, falling apart, feet are falling off white guys. But there's a lot of homeless and mental patient people of color on the trains. And Zoran don't want to do anything about it. Adams didn't want to do anything about it. They don't want to seem like they're an Uncle Tom. Or, oh, no, what are you, you're on their side? What are you, a white supremacist? But the basic truth of the whole thing is, hey, I'm trying to kick the people off that are committing the atrocities on these trains. I don't care what color they are. You know who cares what color they are? People like Gavin Newsom. People like Democrat politicians that want to point out that if the majority of people being removed for committing crimes on public transportation are people of color, that it must be racism, systemic racism doing that, and not just the fact that they're picking up people that are committing these crimes. And they happen to be whatever they happen to be. That's what we get. And that's why nothing will ever get done until maybe you get somebody like Giuliani back in office, which I can't even see. In my wildest hallucinations, I could never see Rudy Giuliani, a Rudy Giuliani type Republican mayor in charge of New York ever again, ever anymore, ever. It just will not happen unless there is some cataclysmic event that affects the demographic of New York City. You'll never see it. So because of that, you'll never see these real problems that are dangerous, real dangerous problems in the city. You'll never see them fixed under these mayors that are more concerned with looking like they agree with this perceived systemically racist society and government. They don't want to look like they're agreeing with that. So they just let people do whatever they want to do without really doing what needs to be done based completely on skin color. or sexuality or religion. So nothing will get done. Isn't that nice to know, people? I hope you could, suck on that a while and enjoy the hard truth that Zohar Mamdani for 4 years will do nothing to make you safer or make your subway ride more pleasant. Okay, don't go anywhere. We will be right back. We were talking about IDs for voting and the way the liberal left, the Democrats, say that it's some terrible thing that will interfere with people's rights to vote, which is ridiculous. And then, it's hard enough to fight the left, the Democrats, these people that stick together like that. And then you get this Mitch McConnell. This guy he's out of his mind. He's like, we goofed on how bad Biden was and his mental state during the 4 years of his presidency, his decline, his cognitive decline. Well, Mitch McConnell is worse, much worse than Joe Biden. And he's literally frozen up at the podium. He was asked a couple of years ago if he plans on running for re-election again in 26. And he stood there at the podium just staring forward. His helper came over and was like, Mr. McConnell, Mr. McConnell. And he just stood there. He was out of it. He had a glitch in the matrix. And now what he does is he will not call a vote for the SAVE Act, which of course would require that every state require ID. It will require that they require ID. And he refused to schedule a vote on the legislation preventing it from moving forward. In blocking it, the retiring senator and former majority leader has drawn the ire of colleagues. Representative Tim Burchett posted a video on X Friday saying McConnell's actions are partially coming from a place of meanness because he doesn't like Trump, and called his mental acuity into question. Of course you're going to call his mental acuity into question. It's obvious. He's blocking the SAVE Act, or is he? Is it him or a staff member? Because as you know, he's a lot like Joe Biden. And remember, Biden, auto pen, all that stuff. We really do not know, especially with these ancient lifer, till they drop dead in office, politicians, who's running the show. Is he really making decisions? Look at him. He's a disaster. He can't walk. He can't talk. He can't think. And he's really sitting and reading legislation and making decisions. You go, well, I've decided. I gave it a lot of thought. And then he decides not to call a vote on the SAVE Act. Both scenarios aren't good. One is that he's an a-hole and won't put forth a vote that we want. We want election integrity. And the other one is bad, too, that he's not even working. He's not even doing anything. He's not making his own decisions. And we saw that with Biden. I don't doubt that at all. That isn't a conspiracy as far as I'm concerned. That isn't some crazy theory that Joe Biden wasn't running his own presidency. I think we've seen enough proof of it. But nothing will happen. That would be crazy, wouldn't it? Holding people accountable. Wendy, Long Island. What's up there, Wendy?
Hey there. The people of Kentucky deserve better, that's for sure.
Exactly.
So you were talking before about the illegal immigrants that are here riding scooters.
Yeah, the third world scooters with third world people driving.
Yes. Well, my first world car hit a third world guy on a scooter, And he got we were riding I was on the surface over the LAE about to make a left turn on Pine Lawn Road. And he's in the right-hand lane, cutting over 2 lanes, crossing over, trying to cross in front of me to make a left-hand turn. So I hit him. He tells me that he's in the right, that I don't know how to drive. That's very funny. I have a driver's license.
Yeah.
He has an ID. But, thank goodness he wasn't hit, killed, God forbid. And I was really scared. And I was just thinking how irresponsible our government is. So he has no driver's license or any kind of, I guess you don't get any kind of license.
Well, thank God he was insured. What was his insurance carrier, Wendy?
He's not insured. He just had an ID saying who he was.
Of course not. That's what they do. They don't know the rules of the road.
Scary.
They don't know the language. And then they drive around like they're in Bangladesh. There's no paying attention to signs or traffic rules. And they'll pull right out in front of you. And if you hit them, sometimes they will sue. They'll get these Saul Goodman type lawyers, and they will sue your ass.
That is true. That is so funny, but it's really scary.
It is.
And while I have you here, I just wanted to say to the senators who are not going to go down to the president.
State of the Union.
Yes. They don't only just represent Democrats; they represent everyone, and they have a responsibility to go down there. And that's just another way that they're irresponsible. They're not only racist, but they're irresponsible to their
they don't represent their constituents. They represent their own self-interest, and it's disgusting. I got to go, Wendy. Thanks for calling. And everybody, thank you so much for tuning in another Sunday. Hey, New York, keep a stiff upper lip there. Shovel out. It's nice. It's fun. It doesn't happen all the time. It harkens to a better time. It always conjures up memories of being a kid when it snows and a simpler time, doesn't it? Now get your ass outside and shovel the car out. We're not too bad down here in South Carolina, 65 degrees, but I digress. All right, remember Anthony Cumia on X, and we'll see you right back here next Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great rest of your weekend.